What's up? What's up, family? What's going on, y'all? What's going on with y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Who do I man? I got 19 people already. I am hello, family. Have y'all been missing me? Have y'all been missing me? As y'all can see, I got my big bulky winter sweater on, and I'm probably gonna change in a sec because it's hot. So, what's up with y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? Come on in the house. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Y'all get to actually see me. Y'all know lately I've been incognito. I ain't been showing my face. Not because I don't want to show my face. It's because there's so much stuff going on behind me. And it's unnerving. Y'all, I gotta get me a space where I can do lives, where I can just laugh, cause Saints, that kitchen table ain't getting it no more. So I have my chair. I have a very nice leather chair in my y'all actually in my room. Yep. And I found a space. So if I use my room going forward, I gotta have a little pretty picture that goes right here, which I gotta find a nice picture. Then I don't have saints talking about, oh, that's idolatry. That's such and such. I just need to find a nice picture. So this might be my little spot to do my lives because my kitchen table ain't getting it. Then you got Rio, who has zero chill. Anybody knows my dog? My dog waits until I start doing a live. Hold on, let me make sure my dog lets him out. Hold on, Madison, when you're done eating, let him out for a little bit. Gonna let him out? Huh? Gonna let him out? All right. Oh, I'm sorry, I was unmuted, so I was trying to tell my daughter when she got done eating to let him out. So, family, what? I have not been gone. I haven't done a live in 2 weeks. I ain't been gone that long. Okay, so family, the reason I have not done lives, not because I didn't want to do lives. Since I have moved here, everybody and their cousin and my mother and my friends and everybody wants to come and visit. And guess whose small cubby hole they end up staying in? Mine. And I've had a house full of people all for the past couple of weeks. So one weekend, every weekend is somebody. So this is the first weekend where I have not had family in town. So it has been, yeah, for the past couple of weekends, family. It's been back to back people staying here. So that means everything I hadn't had to rearrange my apartment. And I'm not done yet. More people are coming. More people are coming. But I get a little break between here and now. Y'all like, so y'all see that I didn't put color in my hair too. Y'all see, I keep changing my hair and it's growing. So, y'all, it's so much going on with me right now. Living in New York. It's a different place. That's all I got to say, Saints. Different place. Different place. So, I just want to come out here because it's been so much going on in the YouTube world. I haven't just been watching. I ain't been missing. I just been watching all the stuff that's going on. And y'all, excuse me, my allergies for some reason are really, really, really cutting up right now. So, and a lot of it has to do with the fact of I was dusting and stuff get in the atmosphere. But I have been watching the YouTube world. Um y'all, what in the world is going on? I got somebody else coming with me. This is sitting in the back room. I'm gonna pull them up in just a second, but I just want to talk about all of the craziness that's been going on. We got we got Chew Three saying David is a rapist. We've had inflation, which is just ridiculous, where prices are ridiculously high. You had stuff going on with Ukraine and Russia, everybody getting prepped. So just in case a new kids, everybody is prepped. You had a whole bunch going on, not to mention other stuff like Kanye West. And I have to stay out that Kanye West argument, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm not getting in that. There's too many people arguing about the stuff that's going on with Kanye. Kanye ain't wrote a check for me yet. So until then, he is not gonna be the meat of my topic. Not to say that other people's doing it because of that. I'm just saying me. Send me a check, Kanye, and I might talk about you. Just send the sister a little bit, a little a little hot 100K. I might do a 30-minute conversation about you. But I am not talking about Kanye for free. Y'all know I'm special. So I'm trying to get a few people. One person in particular ain't trying to come up here. I'm really gonna talk about her later. She don't want to come up here and hang out with us, y'all. But I'm gonna let her pass, and she know who she talking about, who I'm talking about. So yes, cut that check. So I'm gonna go. Me and my brother Errol Spike. Hello, Errol Spike.
Shalom, Sister E. And yes, we did miss you. Shalom, family.
Oh my goodness, y'all miss me. Y'all miss me. Y'all actually hadn't seen my face. Y'all hadn't seen my face in about a couple of months because I ain't been showing my face.
Hmm.
So this is the first time I've shown my face since it's been a minute.
Yeah, you've been living life, so hey, these things happen.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna drop the link. Anybody crazy? Y'all know Aerospike is not having it. He finna go. Let me drop the link. Okay, I know Angie gonna talk about me dropping this link, but I have to. I love to be surprised. Hold on.
Yeah, crazy folks come in here, and yeah, the sword will come out. I'm quick on that button.
Oh, we already know you're not playing with folks. So hold on. Let me drop this little link and pin it. And I'm gonna let the Saints come up and talk. Let me see. All right. So the link has been dropped. Y'all, I really don't have a subject. I haven't done research. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I haven't even been really watching a lot of news. I have one TV in my apartment. I actually have three TVs, but because these apartments are so small, that yeah, I can't put my TV in my room. So I pretty much watch whatever I need to watch on my laptop. The common area has a TV, but I don't have a cable box up. So I'm not watching a whole lot that's going on the news. So tonight, y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to help me through everything. Anybody got come can come up and talk about their subject points. I'm open. Hold on, y'all. My glasses are muggy. Um, so the door is open. Y'all come on up. So let's start with the conversation of where we want to start, Aerospike. I'm doing a free fall, y'all. Where you want to start? Where you want to start?
Well, we can talk a little about what's going on over there in Eastern Europe and how the sons of Japheth are going at each other's necks right now.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So what you got? What you thinking? I'm gonna probably pull up a few articles while we talking.
Well, the way I'm seeing it again, um, obviously depending on your news source, it's gonna spin in one or two ways.
Mm-hmm.
One, and over here in the West, they're gonna say that that the Putin is pretty much losing his grip. They say they're not going to make it, and so forth. This is going to be over sooner than rather than later. That's if you listen to what's over here. Other people are saying things is getting hectic. Things is getting real. It's no good. And just say just for clarity's sake, I do not give one whit about that dude over there. I know some people feel like, oh yeah, he's cool because he fight against Ukraine, because Ukraine and they're ties with Nazism and so forth. It's like, yeah, but that dude don't like us, so I don't see the big clap about cheering him on. That just makes no sense to me. But that's just my opinion on it. But in terms of geopolitics, yeah, things are really getting hectic and heating up. I think over there. And like I said, unfortunately, of course, the big uh, N word, the other N word, that has something to do with the splitting of atoms, um, is being talked about, and that's the terrifying part. You know, uh, oh, you muted, sis.
What N word? You gonna have to put it in the private
Nukes.
chat. Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah, the no, you're not that N word. No, the nuclear, um, from again from what they call the opposition over there, has not been taken off the table. So they've been talking a lot about that. When they start doing things like that, that causes me concern. Um, I don't know if you've ever seen, there was called, they call it the Doomsday Clock. I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, I think, I thought I heard something that they moved it up closer towards midnight, but I have to check. I can't, don't hold me to it. But I remember the last time that happened was in 1983, roughly, when they moved it. This is when at the time of, when Reagan was in office, and I believe it was, um, Andropov, who's the premier of Russia at that time, and the SALT talks were breaking down, and they moved that clock up, closer to midnight. It's in I think the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists is their publication that talks about and shows these things. I think you can see that stuff online, but I thought that I had heard that they had moved it up, again, because it goes back in the late '80s with Glasnost, when Gorbachev, and at this time would have been Bush one, said, okay, let's bring the temperature down. Let's bring this down a little bit. Things is getting too hectic over here, and then they moved it back. But now it's like we're seeing escalation, and I think they moved it back up again. So that's just something to, just to be aware of, these things. And you say no, it's not going to be good. I mean, Yahuwah, Yah forbid that somebody touches that button and throws a little something over there on Ukraine, then everybody jumping in at that point.
Correct.
Because that China has Russia's back and everything, and it's like, oh, that's not good. And that's not that's really not good.
And I think the biggest thing with them is this whole NATO thing. Russia
Hmm.
is like, just Ukraine, stay out of NATO. And I
Yeah.
think even some of the neutral countries that will, I think Sweden and
Yes.
Norway is joining NATO. So Russia is like, oh no, y'all breaking all the rules. So
Oh yeah.
and it's getting now. I'm because I'm gonna look up Doomsday Clock. Then I gotta look up NATO. But I think that's what's pushing it even more. And I think once Ukraine and all the other countries join NATO, I think all Pookie is gonna break loose. When I say Pookie, I mean all hell gonna break loose.
Oh yeah. Well, absolutely. I had posted something earlier that Switzerland, of all places, you know, the king of being neutral. Like, y'all want to
Yeah,
jump off? That's cool. Y'all do y'all. We're gonna sit behind these mountains, and we're gonna be Swayze. We good. But they had, actually started deploying and testing, um, AI, ground units, basically automated, tank recon units. So if I'm sure everybody here has probably s- um, seen the movie Terminator, basically, the real life HKs. They're armed. These are armed AIs, ground forces that can shoot. And this is Switzerland doing this, of all things. So it's like, ooh, that's scary. So just to see a neutral country like Sweden, you know, all of a sudden jumping in the arms race with AI assisted, weapons. That's terrifying.
yep, yep. So hold on. And I saw something. Let me see if I can find it. Um I think this is, hold on. They have been really, really, really pushing. Here we go. This was 5 months ago. Hold on. I'm gonna share. Let me cut this off. Now this was 5 months ago,
Okay.
but hold on. Come on, hurry up. These commercials are getting longer and longer. Oh,
You got to start using Brave browser so you don't have to deal with none of that.
which, oh, what's, well, you gotta tell me what that is so I don't have to deal with
No.
that.
Oh no, no. Brave browser is good. It blocks the scripts that run the commercials
Oh,
on YouTube. That's why I use that. Or you can get a plugin like uBlock, something like that. It blocks those scripts, so you don't have to deal with them.
okay, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to do that. Let me share. Hold on.
To withdraw from a few major locations, appearing to withdraw from a few major locations in Ukraine now, as the UK Ministry of Defense says that Putin's troops have suffered significant losses and that soldiers have actually failed to make any major advances in the Donbas region. Russia not backing down, though, as the Kremlin warns of a possible attack if Finland and Sweden continue their move to join NATO. Foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge joining me now live from Kyiv. So, Tom, we're already seeing what looks like to be a retaliatory move over Finland and Sweden's steps to join NATO, as an energy company in Russia just announced it will actually halt electricity supplies to Finland beginning tomorrow. So what more could we see come of this?
Well, Kira, this is the energy war, right? This is one of Vladimir Putin's trump cards. He knows that a lot of Europe is dependent on Russian gas, oil, in Finland's case, electricity supplies. To some extent, Vladimir Putin is shooting himself in the foot with this, though, because, of course, if he doesn't supply electricity to Finland, he doesn't get the money. And, of course, European gas and oil money is effectively funding his war here in Ukraine. So it's a difficult balance, and it will be interesting to see how that progresses. The Europeans, of course, the European Union, trying to wean itself off Russian gas and oil. Weaning itself off Russian oil, not so difficult. Weaning itself off Russian gas, very difficult. It's going to take some time.
All right. And today, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin actually spoke with Russia's Minister of Defense for the very first time, by the way, since Russia's attack began. Secretary Austin urging an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine. Why are they talking now?
It's a good question. I mean, some people might think that it reflects Putin's failures on the battlefield and a slight weakness in his position. But I would point out that really we've seen diplomatic relations between the United States and Russia throughout this. We've seen right back to January, before Russia invaded Ukraine, a lot of diplomatic activity. It didn't prevent Russia from invading Ukraine. And therefore, it is significant that officials at such a high level are now talking, and they're going public about the fact that these talks have been had. But turning those talks into concrete action will be incredibly hard, because the red lines for Ukraine are really fixed in terms of its sovereignty. Even if you talk about Crimea, which was annexed by Russia back in 2014 and is a slightly different case in point to other parts of Ukraine, that would still be a hard swallow for the Ukrainians if that were to be the case.
All right. Tom Forrest there in Kyiv. Appreciate it, Tom.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
So yeah, it's about that, that oil money. Finland says, "Oh, you want to cut this? Hold up, we got something for you. Clip, there go your funds.
Yeah.
We got the bag. Say, you want this bag? You ain't gonna do nothing with this pipeline."
Yep. He cut it off. And you know what else I'm noticing?
What?
What's the group that, and I know Teo and them talked about it yesterday. Russia is creating their own like alliance. And I think South Africa is involved.
South Africa, interesting.
Somebody put in the chat. Oh yeah, South Africa is not. South Africa is leaning more towards supporting Russia than. Yes, you didn't know that.
No, that's very interesting.
I saw something where it says pro-Russia messaging in West Africa. Yeah, this is getting interesting. So let me see if this is the one that I saw.
In today's focus, we look into Russia's growing.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this with y'all.
South Africa. So we say South Africa and West Africa, or the South Africa?
It says, and I know South Africa is with that, BRICS alliance that they have. But it's like, I'm gonna play it for you. Hold on. Fair use for everything that I'm playing right now, but I don't think that really works.
No, not yeah. No, news is covered.
Yep. So here we go.
influence. In today's focus, we look into Russia's growing influence in Africa. It's a new trend that may spell trouble for the West's efforts to gather support for Ukraine. I'm joined by NHK's Johannesburg Bureau Chief, Vepush Doichiro. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Aki.
So a quick background for viewers. Sho and I used to host this program. And since then, you've been reporting from Africa and doing live hits, most recently from Ukraine on the situation there. It's great having you back in the studio.
Thank you very much. It's always great to be with you.
Yes. So today, well, we tend to believe that Russia has become internationally isolated since the invasion of Ukraine, but you're here to tell us that that's not quite the case in Africa.
Well, that's right, Aki. Well, for example, look at the voting that took place at the UN General Assembly on Wednesday. Member states were asked their positions for a draft resolution that condemns Russia's annexation of 4 Ukrainian regions. Three quarters of the members voted in favor, and the draft was adopted. But among Africa's 54 countries, close to half did not support the draft. Some may think that supporting a draft that condemns annexation of a land may be such an obvious thing to do, but the reality is quite different. Among the countries that abstained from the voting was Mali. Mali used to enjoy strong ties with France. It was a country that was a French colony and is a country that has been seen pro-West. But as its relations soured, French troops left the country 3 months ago, and Russia is now emerging as an influential partner for the country, especially with its questionable military assistance.
Mali was one of the countries at the UN General Assembly on Wednesday that abstained from the resolution condemning Russia. Lately, more citizens of the West African nation are voicing support for Moscow.
Ce partenariat entre le Mali et la Russie, on essaie de l'approfondir.
And this ship is being driven by influencers. We visit one of them, Drissa Mementa. 3 years ago, the Bamako-based lawyer turned to social media platforms to start pro-Russia messaging. Many of his posts emphasize awe of Russia and distrust of France, the former colonizer.
We cooperated with France, but we got zero in terms of weapons or intel. My posts are getting a lot of attention and triggering lively discussions.
We ask whether he has ties to the Russian government, but he denies any association. After independence in 1960, Mali long remained deeply married to France, both politically and economically. But that all started unraveling beginning 10 years ago, when the rise of Islamic extremism progressively undermined Mali's security. At the request of the Malian government, France dispatched troops to intervene in 2013, but they were unsuccessful, and 400,000 people were forced to flee their homes. Around that time, Russia first made overtures to Mali. Following Crimea's 2014 annexation, its relations with the West soured. The ensuing isolation triggered its strategy of strengthening ties in Africa. In 2019, Russia held the first ever Russia-Africa Summit, inviting representatives of all African countries and promising economic as well as military cooperation.
Намерены и далее всемерно содействовать усилиям африканских партнеров, направленным на противодействие терроризму и экстремизму.
Last year and the year before, the military staged coups, seizing control in Mali. And Russia was right there, sending over weapons in a gesture of military cooperation with the new leadership.
Within a few months of working with Russia, We acquired helicopters and radars. Russia respects us and doesn't tell us what to do. This is what a win-win partnership looks like.
The private Russian military company Wagner allegedly is also playing a major role in Russia's expansion into Mali. Mercenaries from the company have operated in conflict zones such as Ukraine and Syria. Russia does not officially acknowledge the firm's existence. But in September, Russian businessman Yevgeny Prigozhin, who shares close ties with President Vladimir Putin, admitted that he is Wagner's founder. While the Malian authorities deny having any contracts with Wagner, a senior French army official testifies that he has proof of the company's clandestine operations. He cites this video, which was filmed secretly by the French military in April in arid northern Mali. From image analysis and other intel, the French military could determine that a Wagner unit was embedded there.
Tout permet d'affirmer qu'il y a des mercenaires. A host of evidence points to Wagner's involvement. Russian military action in the region is underway. The Malian regime is probably using Wagner to remain in power.
At least 6 other African countries have allegedly hired Wagner, and 34 countries are cooperating with Russia on military matters. One of these is Burkina Faso, Mali's neighbor. There, social media wields huge influence over the people, but often features fake news. In January, the military seized power in a coup after growing public anger at the government's inability to crack down on Islamic extremists. Groups in Burkina Faso soon launched social media messaging touting support for Russia.
Putin is the most powerful man geopolitically in the world, the most powerful man in the world.
In 6 months, this group has attracted about 10,000 supporters. It claims that donations fund their activities and denies any Russian support.
The old generation are already manipulated by the old propaganda system. Now we have social media. You can see everything what really going on around the world. It's to open the eyes of another African people.
How is this type of messaging swaying people? Sibiri Bamogo fled his village in northern Burkina Faso 3 years ago after being driven out by extremists.
It's not a great living environment, but I'm managing here somehow. I left everything behind when I escaped.
His uncle was killed by extremists.
I heard that the terrorists forced them to lie on the ground and then shot them in the chest at short range. I was speechless.
Later, he caught a post that changed his way of thinking. The video pushes an anti-France sentiment while promoting Russia as an ally.
What I want is a country that will seriously help us. I hope that Russia will save us.
A local fact-checking organization says disinformation is rife on social media platforms. It adds that it spreads quickly, as the image-centric posts are easy to digest in a country with 40% literacy. The video supposedly depicts French soldiers supplying weapons to extremists. But in fact, it really shows the benign activities of an NGO at a nature reserve.
This kind of posts have the aim to lie, on friends, to attract hate against friends because they want to serve diplomatic Russian aims.
Burkina Faso is seemingly deepening its ties with Russia. The former Minister of Foreign Affairs agreed to be interviewed on the cozying up.
Some people want to compare Russia to the West, but we don't want to be talked down to by people who don't even try to help us. The only way out of our predicament is to grab a branch, even if it has thorns.
So, in your report, we just saw the reality in Africa, especially the suffering caused by the spread of terrorism and how fake news is influencing people's perceptions.
Yes, but when you see those fake news, and yes, some of them they seem to be too illogical or even nonsense if you think about it a little bit carefully, but some of it is very effective. It is built on sentiments that already exist. For example, Western colonization and the horrible damage that it caused to Africa is a reality in itself. And there are strong sentiments about that in Africa, which can be exploited by those who seek to be influencers.
And so then Russia also may be taking advantage of those sentiments.
Exactly. And some call this a battle of narratives and point out that Russia is investing a lot of resources in this. One of the main fears for this battle is the global South. And it is high time to realize the importance to counter those Russia's offensive there. We can view the war in Ukraine as a fight between the West and Russia, but the reality is that the global South cannot be ignored. The voting results at the UN General Assembly provide an example of that.
Thank you for your insights, Sho.
I'm telling y'all remember when I said this a couple of years ago, that the final fight is going to be when Africa steps in. That's when it's going to be a game changer. Reason being is, and hear me out, and I'm only, as my brother's Teo says, in my opinion, let me emphasize that, we're about to see a situation that if, by any chance, everybody start taking sides, because we're seeing that now, and if Africa sides with Russia and U.S. sides with Ukraine, where are we gonna stand? They're gonna do us just like with World War II and the Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do? Create those concentration camps. It's gonna be a dart on every single one of our backs. Because guess what's gonna happen when they go to war? It's gonna be a lot of Black people pushing back because Black people are gonna be like, I'm not fighting with my own people.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't tell the difference. If we go to war, a Black person can switch sides real quick, and you wouldn't tell the difference in who is who and what is what. I'm just gonna be honest. This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I said y'all, if Africa steps into this, because I always thought, I said the final fight is going to be on dealing with Africa's soil, and I thought it was going to be more so of the resources, but it's going to be deeper than the resources. Africa is going to lean towards Russia. And when everybody starts taking sides, all of us are going to be flat dab in the middle of whose side are you going to take?
Mm-hmm.
Can you visualize us? Do you think we're going to sign up and go to war with our own people in Africa?
No.
Yes.
I can't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're not gonna take that side. And that's when all hick is gonna break loose when it comes to us and this nation. That's my opinion. Because I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting with my own people. And I don't think a lot of us are. Because the thing is, every single one of us, our family and our ancestors fought in every single war. What was the end result? We never got anything that we were promised. Then you're asking us to go back to war again and then war against our own people. This is gonna be a game changer. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Because it looks like they are choosing, everybody's choosing sides. And it seems like Africa is leaning towards teaming up with Russia. And again, it goes back to I don't really care when it comes to that country called Russia. But what I do care about my peoples over there on that soil. And no, black people gonna be pushing back left and right. Black folks gonna be pushing back left and right. I think.
It's interesting. I think it's going to be, again, assuming what you're saying, does come to pass or something, similar to it. I think we're going to see also a big split because you got to remember Nigeria sent people, military to Ukraine to fight against Russia. So here you have Burkina Faso right next, close to Nigeria, and they're on opposite sides.
Yep.
So you have to wonder what the dynamics will be,
Yep.
with that. Is it going to all of a sudden be again nation against nation, or is it going to become even more granular, where it's going to be this tribe going to say, okay, this particular tribe, the five, maybe the Hausa, says, no, we're not going over there to rock with Ukraine. No, we're going to rock with Russia over here. The Igbo, or Yoruba will be like, no, we liking Russia over here. And all of a sudden now you got between them going at it, fighting. And it's like for two nations that, to be flat out honest, can give less than to care about them. So when I was listening to the brother in Burkina Faso, you know, it it hit me. It was just like, you still haven't learned, huh?
Yep. Neither one of them care about us at all.
No,
Period.
they want to use them. It was like they say, guys, do you know what the game of chess is like when there's such thing as a pawn? It's like, okay, we don't say France, colonized us. They messed us up. They messed up our different cultures and everything. Hey, wait a minute. Let's join with somebody who probably doesn't really care about us, but we don't care. If we can get something from them, so we can, fight that emotional, that mental battle. Let's let them in, and let's go side with them. Could we get something from them? It's like, do you realize they will use you like toilet paper?
Yes. Hey, drop a link, Ruha Mob, that I haven't heard. That's a new one for me. But what's going on in Haiti? But
Ooh, didn't hear about that.
yeah. So if anybody got a link of what's going on with Haiti, please drop that link. But finish what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, I'm saying they're gonna say they will use them as pawns. People say a lot of our African brothers and sisters, are still always looking to say, somebody help us, somebody help us, somebody help us. And here comes, these people say, hey, we'll help you against your colonizers. No, we're gonna colonize you, of
Yep.
course. But hey, but we're not gonna be like them, comrade. The heck they won't. He said, because it said, no, they'd say they let us do whatever we want, what we ever want to do. I'm like, I was gonna say, for now.
Yep. Yep. For now. For now. And it would shock me none if he'll start a campaign with not just Africa, but just black people in the diaspora.
Oh yeah, I can see that too, and I
Yeah.
agree with you.
I what's so crazy is what we got to be careful is not to be allowed to be used as a pawn in their chess game.
Right.
But if yeah, this is gonna be interesting. This
Yeah,
is interesting. When I saw that, I said they slowly but surely creeping over, pulling Africa in one by one.
Mm-hmm.
One by one, and before you know it, majority rules. And well, guess what's gonna happen? They gonna look at us black folk over here and say it's time to go to war. And you be like, Africa, you're gonna see a lot of people disagreeing.
Yeah,
Shin back.
and I have to agree. I have to agree. And like you said, I do believe, like I said, again, God forbid, something like that really does happen. But if they did come, and then they started doing the campaigns like, African Americans, you're with us, you're American and all this other stuff. And, black people will look at them like, but you still shooting us in the street though. You got police coming on us and killing us, and we supposed to do what for you? They go like, oh, so you don't want to fight for us? Yeah, like you said, that concentration camp, y'all still got those open? Yeah, y'all about to go in there today because you're not because and people were looking at us. Remember after 9/11 happened, people who were brown skinned, even though they might not have been, from those areas, were catching it hard. That when the plagues happened, Chinese people were catching it hard. What do you think would happen if this did go full blown major with Africans like that, and they look at us like if we look anything that resembles African and not European American, all of a sudden we're gonna be suspect real fast.
Yes. And that's the biggest thing. I'm watching it. I'm just sitting and I'm watching for that. I think I'm watching for that more than I am anything. There's two
Hmm.
things that I'm watching for. Everybody's like, E, why are you in New York? If something, especially with nuclear bombs being threatened, one thing I will say, if I see something happening in Ukraine and they hit Ukraine, understand I'm finna hop in my car. I'm headed out of New York because I know it's getting ready to get real ugly and folks starting to use nuclear bombs and it's time for me to bounce and get out this big city. And I'll take my nice little laptop and say, hey y'all, I'm gonna work from home. I'll see y'all on the next go round and I'll catch y'all later. So I'm looking at that. Another thing I'm looking at. US, I mean not US, but Africa siding with Russia. I said the more Africa sides with Russia, the more they're gonna start getting paranoid about us.
Yeah.
Because what's going on is they're gonna be like, wait, hold on, we done dogged them out, we done mistreated them, we ain't giving them reparation. Now that would be a trick bag right there. If they say you got to go to war, we'll give you reparations, but Negroes is gonna renege on that. They're like, yep, drop that check, and then be like, well, I ain't gonna go to war for you.
Yeah, be easy. I'm out.
I'm out. I'm already over here. I see y'all on the next go round. That would be stupid if they say, we'll give you reparation if you fight. Niggas be like, yeah, I'm here for it. And then as soon as that check hit, be like, I'm on the first plane out. I see y'all on the next go round. Thank you. So
I don't want fiat currency. I'm gonna need some platinum, y'all.
we not gonna play with y'all. We'll take that money though. And we'll hit that plane and be like, I'm gonna throw these tools at you. I'm out. But
Hmm.
but ultimately, if that happens, they're gonna be paranoid off the rip. They're gonna be like, they're gonna be more paranoid about us than they did the Japanese. And then what do they call them
Internment camps.
Yep, internment camps. They're gonna be more paranoid about us
Yeah.
because they talk about 400 years of what they've done. Um, 200 years of slavery, 200 years of oppression. So they off the rip gonna be paranoid. And what's gonna happen is it wouldn't shock me none if they start opening up those camps again and say, well, we're just putting you here for safety purposes. Now y'all putting us over here because y'all scared.
Yeah. I'm going with like, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be going on to glory that day because I'm like, you try to touch me and my family, I'm gonna fight.
That's gonna
I
be
said, I guess I'll be going on. Say I'll be going on, to see our king. Then okay, that's no problem.
that's what's gonna be ugly right there if it go down. If it go down, because I'm telling you, if there is a world war and everybody chooses sides, and Africa chooses sides with Russia, and US is gonna automatically choose sides with Ukraine, that's gonna be an internal fight.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the fight. So I hear something going on. Hold on, let me get this link from Ruhama. She's
Yeah.
something going on with Haiti. Hold on.
Yeah. I was gonna look at that too. Yeah, you muted again, sis.
All right, I'm gonna share right now.
Okay.
Story on this show, which is the coming in. Well, we've been covering a very important story on this show, which is the coming invasion. I'm calling it invasion of Haiti by U.S. military forces. And last night, we saw some major movements in that regard. The United States Coast Guard sending one of its largest gunships to start patrolling off the coast of Haiti near Port-au-Prince. The United States has canceled visas as well. It looks like things are only getting worse. We're entering a heated situation right now. We want to bring in independent journalist Dan Cohen, who's been following the story from the very beginning. He's been doing some excellent journalism on this, and we'd like to welcome back to the show. Dan, thanks for coming back on the show.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, Clayton.
Absolutely. So we were talking last night. It looks like things are starting to ratchet up, and these, of course, this is what you've been following and saying this was about to happen. It looks like last night things started happening. So what is the very latest?
Well, I think you're right to call it an invasion rather than the nice euphemism of military intervention, which sounds so much more palatable. And right now, Brian Nichols, the top State Department official for the Western Hemisphere, and figures from the Pentagon, top Southcom commander, are in Haiti meeting with the interim prime minister, Ariel Henry, as well as figures from the opposition group that is very close to Washington called the Montana Accord. And they're basically figuring out how they can put down this protest movement. And their main concern is the blockade on the fuel terminal where Haiti gets 80% of its fuel. And that's blockaded by an armed group called the G9, led by Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier. This guy's the #1 target of the United States. And if there is any military invasion, intervention, call it what you will, this guy's the target. The G9 is the target. If you look at the readout from the State Department, they're careful not to say his name, but they say the blockade of the fuel terminal. And they've sent, as you said, a Coast Guard ship, which is under the auspices of the Department of Homeland Security. And, so it makes me wonder, how is Haiti part of the homeland of the United States? Where does the homeland start and end? I don't know exactly.
It extends very far. I mean, we had U.S. National Guard deployments from Wisconsin going to Africa last week. So, there is no border to the United States, right?
Right, exactly. It's all the U.S.'s backyard, Latin America, the Caribbean.
Right.
So they send this Coast Guard ship, which is military. It's not part of the Pentagon. It's part of Department of Homeland Security. And this thing has basically small rafts that move very quickly and are equipped with machine guns that it can deploy. And those are exactly the kind of boats that you would want for some kind of special covert operation, which is exactly what the U.S. is angling for in Haiti. So, this is classic gunboat diplomacy, where you send the diplomats down there to talk to the government, and at the same time, you kind of have the stick waiting in the water, ready for action, and it might portend something else. So, I'm not saying that Coast Guard ship is directly going to launch an attack, but it obviously portends something greater. And the U.S. said that it deployed the ship as a sign of its resolve. So I think that really says everything about its intentions.
Let's talk about these oil, that blockade specifically. What do you know about that?
So right in the heart of Port-au-Prince on the coast is the Varot gas terminal, and it is Haiti's lifeline of fuel to the outside world, where it receives 80% of its fuel. So if that thing is blockaded, as it currently is, it brings the country to a standstill.
Who's blockading it? I'm sorry.
And so Sure. So there's an armed group called the Revolutionary Forces of the G9 Family and Allies, and it's led by a former cop turned revolutionary named Jimmy Cherizier, and his demand is for Ariel Henry to step down and to have for the country to improve, to basically have leadership that will address the needs of the poor masses that are living in the shanty towns, in the slums, right next to that gas terminal. So, you have the worst poverty in the Western Hemisphere. You have a cholera outbreak right now as a result of it. And their demands to end this blockade are, well, we need clean water, we need education, we need housing, all the basic things that people need to live. And Haiti's ruling class, which is tied to the US, won't allow them to have. So that's what this is fundamentally about. And if you look at, the US and its tools in Haiti are very concerned about this fuel blockade, and they want to lift it, but they don't want to address anything that the people are demanding. And the masses, the people out protesting from the slums, they're not saying lift the fuel blockade. They're saying no foreign intervention and down with Ariel Henry. That's their demand.
So that's very interesting. So we want to get rid of this interim prime minister who's basically a puppet, and we want to have our autonomy, no U.S. boots on the ground, and we want to have a new government put in place is essentially what they're asking for. And of course, it doesn't appear that the West is ready to give that to them. In fact, it seems like the West is fully in support of Henry as the interim prime minister. Am I wrong about that?
Not exactly. Basically, the US's thing is, they know Ariel Henry is a liability because he's totally seen as a puppet of the United States, and correctly so. So there's an opposition group that the US is also meeting with that has kind of a prettier face. They call it Haitian-led. It's called the Montana Accord. It's named for the fancy hotel that it was signed in. And it's a bunch of figures who are also tied to the US. So the US is saying, taking these two groups, the Montana Accord and Ariel Henry, and just trying to bang them together to make an agreement so then they can have, some kind of transition government with elections. But, again, that's not actually going to do anything for people in Haiti who are suffering under their boot. So that's the US's tactic, is to get these groups together.
And you may have mentioned this in passing, but what is the overall mood or sentiment regarding the Montana Accord among the Haitian people? Are they aware deeply of it, or are they in support of it, or they see it as an extension of U.S. interventionism?
Right. I mean, I think it's clear to most Haitians who are out protesting that the Montana Accord is just another group of elites that don't represent their interests at all, and like Ariel Henry, are completely tied to the United States. So, I don't see any signs in any of these protests saying, we support the Montana Accord or anything else. But, the signs are demanding those improvements in quality of life and just, basic infrastructure that Montana is not gonna provide. The overall message you're seeing from the protests is down with Ariel Henry because he's the interim prime minister, and also no to U.S. military intervention. But, there's no way that Montana has popular support. It's really just, kind of lipstick on a pig.
When you see these troop movements, so we see the gunship, the Coast Guard gunship, how much bigger do you think it's going to get from there? Are we talking thousands of American forces, UN peacekeeping forces under the auspices of peacekeeping? Where do you see, and how big do you think that this will get?
Well, the U.S. would love to have the UN deploy, so-called peacekeepers as it did in previous occupations, but Russia and China have essentially they will block that because it's not the Russia and China of 2003, 2004 that were much more willing to go along with U.S. machinations. So the U.S. is looking for another way to do it. There's talk about through the Organization of American States, which is really just a tool of the United States. And, the U.S.'s other plot is through the Global Fragility Act, which is a 2019 piece of legislation that basically calls for military special operations to go into so-called fragile countries like Haiti, being the test case for this legislation, and carry out what they call small footprint operations. hit squads, black ops, covert ops. So the U.S. wants to have as small of a footprint as possible, so it doesn't, get these mass protests against them, because the U.S. knows that foreign intervention is extremely unpopular in Haiti. That's why they're going with, this whole Haitian-led mantra of the Montana Accord. That's why they're saying, it's humanitarian intervention, the U.S. is desperate for its puppets to be effective, so it's not at the forefront. So I think last resort is that the U.S. deploys a significant amount of its own troops. It's really looking for a proxy to do the job.
As always, exactly. A couple of more questions I had for you. One, the cynical nature of me knowing these politicians and knowing the elites who in Washington and New York and so forth in the financial sector, who love going down to the Dominican Republic, and they love buying up beachfront property there. They love the resorts, the all-inclusive resorts in the Dominican Republic and so forth. So what sort of a humanitarian crisis are we seeing that could potentially or is already spilling over into the Dominican Republic, and specifically into the areas where these Washington elites would have a problem going on vacation?
Yeah, there is a humanitarian crisis in Haiti, a huge amount of migration coming into the Dominican Republic, and the Dominican leadership, after meeting with Kamala Harris and Samantha Power and a bunch of top figures in Congress, they deployed military assets to the border with Haiti, because of course they share an island, and the president of the Dominican Republic and his top diplomat have called for military intervention in Haiti to put down this uprising, to, like you said, an invasion, to put down this uprising and, return what they call stability, kind of the status quo. So, the idea of a popular revolution and this puppet government collapsing in Haiti is a major threat to Washington and elite interests in the Dominican Republic, and then even the region. Haiti, as small as it is is a major player kind of on the geopolitical chessboard. So it's like if one part goes, then the rest of them are threatened too. So the Dominican Republic is very much a front to, and always has been, to prevent revolution in Haiti.
And so you had a chance to speak with a congressman last night by chance, who has an interesting position on this. Can you tell us about your confrontation with a member of Congress on his Haitian position last night?
Yeah, so it's actually the second time I've had a chance to interface with Congressman Andy Levin of Michigan in recent weeks. I saw him at a House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing, and he was pretty dismissive to what I was saying. I asked him about military intervention and the G9, which is blockading this, and he said those guys are terrorists, and so that's obvious language that sort of intimates that the U.S. has to, take them out. And then I saw him last night at Whole Foods here in Washington, D.C. shopping, and I approached him, casually and politely, and I explained to him that, the figures that he is promoting in the Montana Accord, specifically Magali Como-Denis, its leader, was involved in the 2004 U.S. coup against President Aristide, who's Haiti's most popular president ever. And so he wants to say Ariel Henry, the interim prime minister, is so bad. Well, Ariel Henry was involved in the coup, and so was the leader of the Montana Accord. So basically, you have two U.S. puppets, and this is just an excuse for further U.S. intervention in Haiti. And I offered to brief him on what I know about the situation based on my reporting and my investigations, and he just, dismissed me and kind of sneered and hurried away. So, these are like the enlightened liberals that want to think they know what's best for Haiti, but they're the most imperialist of all.
Right. Yeah. He just throws out the talking points. Oh, they're terrorists blocking the oil fields. They're terrorists in the blockade. And what they, again, just just parroting what comes right from Nancy Pelosi's office on this. Dan, always great to see you. Where can people learn out more about your journalism and what you're currently covering?
Well, I have a new documentary coming out soon called Another Vision that gives the background to this armed revolutionary movement that is blockading the fuel terminal right now. We'll have a release date on that shortly, and I'll be imminently launching my own media outlet called Uncaptured Media. And in the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at DanCohen3000 and check out my Substack, dancohen3000.substack.com, where I'll have soon I'll have a new investigation on Haiti coming out.
Well, keep us informed. We will love to have you back on here. And thank you for your fantastic work on Haiti and beyond. Dan, great to see you as always.
Thanks a lot, Clayton.
Thanks to Dan. And so Chris in the chat just said, Clayton, stop saying the West. We all know that the West means the United States. And that's a great point. However, when we talk about Ukraine, the West includes UK, it includes Europe, it includes the United States. And for Haiti, yes, it's including Canada, it includes the United States. But in the case of Ukraine, we're talking about the West, we're talking about the UK going in and being the one who muscled away peace agreements, right?
Sure. And the European Union today deciding that, or this week discussing whether or not individual bloc members can negotiate their own gas now. They're saying, we can't have each member out for themselves. We have to be united on this sanction front. We have to be united on who we punish. So we think that, countries shouldn't be able to bid each other up for oil.
Right.
Now they have to go and buy oil together. This is a Western-led political crisis.
Absolutely.
What's up?
Hi, welcome. Tayu.
Greetings, Sister E. How you doing? Hey, Arrow Spike. How y'all doing today?
Hey, shalom to you. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
This is gonna be This is interesting to see how this is played out.
Mm-hmm.
To see how this is going to play. I'm asking myself, where will we be in a year?
Only Adonai knows.
Because the West has been, they dibbling and dabbling in everything. And I'm telling you, if Africa and let's say Haiti and these other countries start siding with Russia, it's going to be a problem. Any thoughts if it's about this, Tayu, or anything you want to bring?
Yeah, well, I think 2023 is going to be very interesting. I think it's hard to predict exactly how it's going to play out, but I mean, when the United States had that exercise a few years ago about the invasion of West Africa, that was scheduled for 2023. So if they stay on schedule, they'll be in Africa in 2023. And
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. We mentioned it in a video a few years ago that if you Google it, it was I think it might have been New York. If Jacob was around, maybe he could tell me. But it was an exercise with the idea of invading West Africa in 2023. But like in regards to Haiti, I mean, when they assassinated, what's his name, Jovenel, it seems to me that was a message to any government that's not a Western power, how stay in line or else. Same thing with the Madagascar president. They attempted to assassinate him. He was elected in 2019. In 2021, they tried to assassinate him. Once again, there's other ways to assassinate people, right? So obviously those type of actions are warning messages. So in Madagascar, there were two Frenchmen were arrested and sentenced, but they only got 5 and 10 years, which is insane, right? In America, you would get life, if not the chair. And in Haiti, it was the Colombians. And I mean, you would think they would have no role in this as well. And they successfully got rid of the Haitian president, and the vice president took over, and no one likes him. So I guess the plan was to put him in power. But if you look at how these non-European nations are managed, the people are kept at a minimum survivable state with no hope of first world status.
Yeah.
And even though they have access to resources, I mean, they make it sound like Haiti is struggling, but Haiti, just like Africa, is struggling because of foreign intervention. And if you, here's the problem. The problem is colonialization successfully dominated the world, and no one was prepared for the way they ran this system, right? Because we expect you have an army here, you have an army there, you go to war, and you get dominated and taken over by the new power. To rule the world, that wouldn't work because you would have too many people fighting against you. So they put puppets in place. If you notice, I mean, the Western powers, especially France and UK, never left Africa. They never left Haiti. If you know the agreements between Haiti was paying France not to invade them, basically.
Yep.
You know, and so, you know, our people and the Asian nations pretty much are have been dominated by the colonial powers ever since for two centuries. And because of the media has been their greatest weapon. They've been able to, you know, I guess, sell the idea of liberty while having a heavy hand on these other nations, and nobody knows because the ability to communicate swiftly and globally wasn't there. I think with the internet, that's why you're seeing so much pushback now, because people are starting to be able to put the pieces together. So I still think the game that the elite play as a whole is a bit too sophisticated for most of us. I mean, even for me, I mean, there's things they're doing I probably wouldn't grasp, but I mean, they've been dominating the world for quite some time now, and we're in that Great Reset, the attempt at the Great Reset. Now, it seems like it's backfiring on the Western powers because they're highly dependent on Russia, and so since they were siding against Russia, they may have a difficult winter, and the political scene seems to be changing. You know, Germany is saying, "Hey, I don't want to be part of this. I want my few." France is saying, "I'm not going to be threatening Russia. I'm not in this," even though, you know, France is a major player in NATO. And so, you know, it's like trying to separate yourself from a twin. And you know, France, UK, America, Germany, they can't separate themselves from each other. But they're trying to do that because they're too close to Russia. And so Africa is siding with Putin because it appears that this is one shot at getting some liberty, because under the NATO powers, it's just intimidation and force. No hope of, you know, improving your nation other than that. So I don't know. Things are really getting a little scary in some ways, you know. But we'll see in 2023.
Yeah, this is gonna be real interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, it's just when you start seeing the black or I want to say people of color siding with the opposing side. Anybody that's left on the outside are going to be the ones that because the U.S. I'm gonna say this: a tyrant is a tyrant, but the biggest downfall of a tyrant is their level of paranoia. Because you've done so much to so many different countries and so many different nations that you're paranoid. And I think that's where the U.S. is. The U.S. has been a tyrant for so long, but they're now in a stage of paranoia that anybody can be after them at whatever time. And one being the very people you have within your own nation. And I think they're paranoid about us ultimately. And come on up, Teo. Yakoba. If Africa sides, that paranoia is going to intensify, and they're going to come at us. Does that make sense? You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And they're over self-importance to be looking at us like, okay, what again? Like I said, what y'all gonna do? And say, I'm just looking at them like, um, you're not important enough to me to care about what you feel or think. I'm not fighting for nobody. Period. I'm like, no. I said I care about is the Most High, my family, and my friends, and that's it.
Yep.
You can do what you want. 'Cause I said again, because we all have to understand. Like I said again, Adonai sees all of this. These things were already prophesied.
Yep.
So like I said, none of this should be surprising to us whatsoever. And then us to say again, we'll just still here, occupy until he returns. And so that's the reason I was fighting. But when I was talking about fighting earlier, like I said, if somebody tried to come and attack your family, you don't just sit there and go like, okay, I'm just gonna pray, and like you have the right to fight back, and that's what I'm talking about.
I think this is going to be a war where, what is it? It's a scripture. I want to say it's in Isaiah when it talks about, just like where is it? It's pretty much saying that everybody's going to return to their own nations.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people know what scripture. I can't remember what it is. I really see that people are going to start returning back to their own nations. This is going to be a for real world war. This is not going to be a partial war. This is going to be a full-fledged world war, and Africa is going to be, I think, one of the centerpieces of this conflict.
Well, Sister E, to me, it's all about us, whether we in Africa or whether we're the diaspora. The way they move, the decisions they make is about us, right? And when you realize who we are, you understand how they're maneuvering. Their God, which is Satan, right, is at war with our God. They trust their God, and they believe that because they have been in power for centuries, that they're going to remain in power. But they understand the game better than we do. So the second the awakening occurred, all this happened because they take us seriously. So Africa definitely will be, on their mind, but it's not going to work out for them because the 10 shall betray the whore. And I think that's what we're seeing because there's too much happening where, like I said, France was like, they're part of the 10, but they're like, well, I'm not an enemy of Russia. Don't mess with me, because they couldn't survive it. Right. And they would never regain control of Africa if they get in a fight with Russia. So it's going to be interesting.
It is. Hey, Yakoba, what's up?
What's up, Sister E? Hey, Arrow Spike.
Shalom,
what's
Yakoba.
up? What's up, Huckleberry? I knew you was gonna say that. I want to talk about you, Doc. I want to talk about you, Doc.
Why is he calling you Huckleberry? Y'all gotta tell me why later.
I need to hear this.
He can tell you joke. now. I'll tell you. It's a little joke. He beat me in chess today. Yeah. So he was looking for that smoke and he got it. So yeah, I got beat up today. So I told him I was looking for Huckleberry. I'm not talking about you, Doc. But that's if you saw Tombstone, Sister E.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be a Huckleberry.
Yeah, I'll be your Huckleberry. You got it, Mike.
What is that, Doc Holliday?
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that movie. But I was talking about wait a minute, y'all play chess online?
Yeah, we do.
That's interesting. So the scripture I was talking about was Isaiah 13:14, when it says, like a hunted gazelle, like sheep without a shepherd, they will return to their own land, return to their own people, they will flee to their native land. So it sounds like everybody just gonna be fleeing and going back to their own land. That's what I was talking about. But what are your thoughts, Yakoba?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, for me, all I can see from what I see, we're out of here. one way or another, because it's pretty bad. Right now, NATO is sending troops in the border of Poland surrounding Belarus,
Mm.
and setting up tanks and Patriot missiles. I'm like, these dudes ready to go after Russia, and Putin ain't gonna just sit there. He ain't no punk, right? And it just don't look good. It don't look good. I would have to say, have your bags packed. We might have to be on the way out. Well, we definitely got to be prepared to support one another when everything shuts down. That's how we're gonna get through this thing. Is we just got to have Israel. Israel got to put Israel first. I'm sorry. That's just how we got to do. You know.
Mm.
I got a question. Everybody's saying passports. I don't even think passports will have any weight when all hell
Yeah,
breaks.
it won't. You're right. So it's gonna be just like Ukraine when they had to leave. Everybody didn't have passports. The status is gonna be changed for refugees, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be
And
interesting.
yeah. Let me say this, I just want to clarify the reason I say Israel got to put Israel first, because if you look at what happened with Hurricane Katrina, right, our people didn't get any help, and they were stuck in there, and they weren't concerned with giving them immediate assistance. So we usually last on that list. Same thing with the water issue in Detroit. We're not first on the list. So
That's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be really interesting. I'm just I'm I'm just gonna sit and watch. Like I said, this is and it's good for us to do things like how to be prepared. I want to do a session on how to be prepared if all hell. And I'm just gonna say I ain't gonna say hell heck. When all hell breaks loose, what how are you gonna sustain yourselves until otherwise? Because being honest, some people are prepared, some aren't. Um, if let's say something happens where the electricity, I was looking, Ukraine has no electricity right now. What are we gonna do then? What are we gonna do if the if the water supply comes short? What are we gonna do if a nuke hit? None of us are really prepared. I don't think so. I want to do a segment on that to like if something goes down, what do you need to do? But it's about to go down though. It is.
the way it looks like we just really need to be praying and fasting, because we see all the wars, but no one's talking about the animals dying and the water drying up, and the food disappearing. I'm like, I don't know if they're doing this. I mean, the Most High said He's coming to get us with outstretched arms, so I'm assuming He's doing all this, but that doesn't mean He can't use them to do this as well, because He could use whoever He want. But there's it's the what they call it, the perfect storm,
Yeah,
right?
it is. It
So
is.
it's the perfect storm.
It is.
Well, I just wanted to add that, just have the basics, right? Food, canned foods, water, things that can store for a while, and containers to at least have the ability to put water in, right? I mean, because just having a bunch of bottled water, that's not going to really last you long. Hopefully, the water system won't be fully shut down, or at least you could purify your water. But you're going to need containers for your water, things that are transportable. Save some of those water bottles that you have today.
And get some water purification tablets. I got some of those.
Yeah, yeah. That's why, like, for me, I was wondering, why am I back in Dallas? Because I was getting set up in New Orleans, and New Orleans, close to the Mississippi, the Pontchartrain. Even though I know in Tennessee the Mississippi drying up, but I'd be able to get some food probably down that way. And here, I'm stuck in the middle of prairie land. I'm like, I guess the Most High has a reason for it.
I read this. He said, "Thanks, I declare war for your $10 donation." It says they are targeting Haiti because they believe we go at we go as Haiti goes. I hope I said that right. Well, Haiti won versus France. They were forced to change the outline of slavery. They are trying to turn back the clock. I don't get it.
I agree.
I I'm trying to see what he's saying though.
What he's saying is that Haiti was the leader of the slave revolts,
Right.
Oh,
and when they went, all of the plantations started revolting, and they probably figured if Haiti gets freedom, we're gonna get freedom. So that's that whole thing with the rise of a black messiah. That's a whole nation of a black messiah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So I mean, yeah, like I said, that's it again. That's the biggest terror of those who have done all this evil for all this time. It's again for all of us to be like, become of one accord. They're like, okay, they know that time is up. Again, like I said, again, we don't know how long this thing is going to last. Um, like I said, it's 2023. So we have no idea. But for me, like I said, it's just being not afraid, but simply just being aware of the circumstances. Just see how just see how see how the economy is moving. Take a look at those things. I mean, you don't have to be an economist. Like say like Karis, who knows the whole thing. You don't you don't have to be a economist. Say like, okay, this is continuing dropping. Oh, this is dropping. While this is dropping, this is happening over here. Huh. Hmm. And that's when you ask the Most High for wisdom and say, what will you have me do? What is this? What will you have me do? And ask for his wisdom, his direction. Say, point me to where you want me to go, or do you want me to be silent, be still, just wait for what he's gonna do?
Yep. Yep. And have y'all noticed that our conversation has changed? I think all of us for the past 5, 10 years have been saying who we are, who we are, who we are. We are the people of the book. We're children of the prophets. We're children of we're Judah. We've been in captivity. You owe us, proving who we are. We've shifted from that conversation to warning people to be prepared for what's to come. And one thing I know, every single great prophet in the Bible, every single great prophet in the Bible that was sent to warn the nations, majority of the case was Israel. Who's warning now to be prepared? It's ironic that in the midst of this awakening, Israel has woken up to who they are. And what are we doing? Repent, turn from your ways. Something's coming. Be prepared. And we wasn't doing this 15, 20 years ago. Am I wrong, or do y'all see it similar to what I'm saying?
Well, 10
Yeah.
years ago. Also, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, tell you the truth, I mean, from what I've seen, it's always been Israel making the call for repentance. I mean, I guess usually to their own people, but in this case, the final captivity, it's a warning to the Gentile nations. The time of the Gentiles is at an end. I mean, they really thought that this position of privilege would last forever. But knowing the scriptures, knowing the Most High, they should have known that judgment was coming. They should have known that repentance was necessary for them to survive. They needed a Nineveh moment, but they said no, right? Just like Jacob and Brother Karis would say, I would have healed Babylon, but they would not be healed. They they rejected it out of pride. So, but it lines up. We have to go home. It's our deliverance. It's gonna let the world know who the one true God of the universe is, and a lot of this racism is going to have to disappear after that, right? Because Israel's going to be put back on the top, and I know, a lot of Christians don't like this idea that Father Yah's kingdom is not democratic. They they want his kingdom to be democratic. Unfortunately, from the very beginning of the scriptures, he made a promise to a people, and they all know the Most High keeps his word. So it's just a matter of time. We are going home.
Yep. Yep. Well, I don't want to keep everybody really late. I want to make sure everybody got their points out, and because I am going to do another segment on this. because I guess I'm leaning more towards this than debating and arguing any more of who we are. I think
Right.
that battle is over. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much we didn't all kind of lay that sword down on that one. It's now more so of the bullhorn warning people, like for instance when Moses was warning Pharaoh, and guess what? Pharaoh's heart got hardened. That's the same thing Israel is doing again, warning the pharaohs of what's going on, and guess what? Their hearts are being hardened.
You
And
know, the
also,
thing. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Harris.
No, I was going to say, and for me, it also just, besides, one of them, we got to look at our own hearts and asking the Most High to say, to cleanse our hearts as well. Asking to say, to remove, any unclean thing within me, renew a right spirit within me. So, again, so we obey his commandments. You should love Adonai with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. You should love your neighbor as yourself. I said, for me, that has been my prayer. It's like, okay, what does that mean? To keep his commandments, to follow him, still by loving other people, however he directs that, to reflect how Yeshua lived, and we need to be doing the same thing again, so we can still be that light. So when we're that light, we're also that warning light to people. So wait a minute, these people are living completely different than how everybody else is living, and they trying to say something. Now again, like you said, people's hearts are going to be hardened. That's guaranteed. But there's going to see some whom, Yah in His mercy may open their eyes to say, like, listen to what they're saying. It's time to repent. So again, we have to get our, have our hearts be clean as well, so we can be that right vessel for Him to work through, as as individuals and as a nation.
I agree with that. I mean, I've been doing that literally every day, trying to line up my mind, my thought, my spirit, my life with His will, because what's happening today is it is on another level, spiritually, emotionally, the attacks, especially like for Jacob and I, we get attacked all the time. So, you know, um, we have to focus on trying to make sure when we meet the Most High that we're prepared to meet Him and be found favorable. I mean, and that comes to a lot of you Gentiles as well. We're actually praying for y'all. We are, for those who are willing to listen and understand what's happening, and praying that the Most High helps you find a way of escape. And I do believe that scripture in Revelation that says, pray that you find a way of escape, is the way of escape is leaving with Israel, right? That's what I see. Um, and so, I mean, this is really a time of people who want to serve the Most High have to get in line and serve the Most High in spirit and in truth and in repentance. And that's for every last one of us.
Yep. Well, I'm not gonna keep everybody long anymore.
Did you want me to
Information.
answer that question there, Sister E?
Oh yes. I'm sorry, Yako. Y'all know
um,
I've been out of state, so y'all know I got to get back into it. So yeah, go answer that question, sir.
yeah, so Haiti's not the tribe of Dan, because Haiti, you had people coming from all over the place. Some of them even came from Spain and Portugal, and of course, from Africa. According to the scriptures, is Judah, right? And they're probably the ones from Micah 5. Micah 5:8, like a young lion tearing. That's what I think Haiti is. Haiti don't play. But as far as the tribe of Dan, we do know where they're at, right? They're in Cote d'Ivoire, in the Ivory Coast. Um, they have a few stragglers of Dan left in Ethiopia. Well,
But
they're in Dahomey too. yeah, and in Dahomey, Dahomey, that's right, Dahomey as well. Supposed to be the tribe of Dan. So Cote d'Ivoire, Dahomey, and there's a few stragglers back in Ethiopia. So
all right, brothers. Any other things we want to add? I will come back on this weekend. I'm not done. That's why I'm trying not to spend 4 hours out here so I can pace myself. So anything before we close up?
Just be on alert. They're saying something might kick off this weekend.
Okay.
Definitely, they're leaning toward this week. It looks like it could be. I mean, it's just moving fast. I just add Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Indeed. Shabbat said, let not your hearts be troubled, let them be afraid. That's not our, you believe in Elohim, okay, believe also in me. That's what Yeshua told us. So, in spite of everything that we are seeing right now, like you said, look up, for your redemption is near.
Correct. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining me. Thanks for the panel for coming on. Y'all, I'm trying to pace myself, so that's why this one is short, so I can be able to have energy for the next go round for the next conversation I'm gonna have this weekend. So, but thank y'all so much for joining me. Thank you so much for the support. I hadn't been out here for 2 weeks, and I got 162 people out here today. So thank y'all so much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed the information, and y'all have a wonderful Shabbat. All right. Good night.